In 1984, I got orders to be stationed in Germany, compliments to the Air Force. I brought my wife over. She was 19 years old, I was 20 years old. And our first day in country, we're waking up, we're going to be going on to the base and making our first impressions. And that morning, my wife plugged in her blow dryer into a German outlet. Now, unbeknownst to us, Germany had a different voltage than the United States. I didn't know that. I just assumed all power sources were the same. Anywhere in the world, you could plug in anything. Well, she deep fried that blow dryer. Now, that wasn't a big issue, but you ladies will understand this. Here's my wife in a new country. We're going to make our first impression. We're going to go onto the base and meet all my superiors and people I'm going to be working with for the next few years. She's going to have a bad hair day the first day. Not a good way to start off our new life for the next 5 years. Here's the moral of the story. Power sources are really, really important, and there's a lot of them. But that blow dryer, it had a warning tag on it. I never paid attention to it because I didn't think it was important. But it had this little thing from the owner or manufacturer that told you exactly the power that it had to run on, because the one who made it knows what it needs to function efficiently. I didn't read that because, again, I assumed all power sources were the same. They are not. They're not for us either. Do you know that you and I were created, which means somebody made us. God put us together, and he left us an owner manual. It's called the Bible, and that explains the power source. It tells us where to plug in and how to plug in and how to use the power safely. That power, you can see it. It regulates two things: your purpose and your passion. And that is incredibly important because when we plug into the wrong power source, it creates confusion, wrong direction, a lot of mistakes, a lack of energy. It causes damage to our life, and it can actually destroy our purpose, just like it destroyed that blow dryer. It melted that darn thing. Because there's other power sources out there. We've got to figure out the right power source so that you understand your purpose and your passion. Because you're the only one that has a purpose and passion uniquely to you. It fits you just like I do. We want to make sure to get into the right power source, because when you do, unbelievable things will happen. Take a look at David. Do you remember David? Before he was king, anointed as king, he was a teenager, and he ended up on a battlefield bringing lunch to his older brother who was involved in the army. David was not. David was a sheep herder, working with his father's sheep. And he came there to bring food. And the army that his brother was facing, there was a man there that had never been defeated called Goliath. He was a giant, a man who was huge and had never, ever, ever lost in battle. Well, David fought him as a teenager with no weaponry, no armor, but a slingshot. And he brought down the most powerful man the world had ever seen. And that's because he was plugged into the right power source. If you get and I do, if we figure out our power source, we get the right one. Watch what happens in your life. Watch what happens to your purpose and your passion. Because today there's an epidemic of people who don't understand what their power source is, and they don't understand what their purpose and passion is. My name is Ed Carcarey. I'd love to connect with you. You can find me at edcarcarey.com. Find your passion. Find your life.